Oh, won't you take me home tonight? Oh, down beside your red firelight. Oh, and you give it all you've got. Fat-bottomed girls, you make the rockin' world go round.
Are we recording on the thing?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. I'm Guy Pigden.
Oh, thanks for good intro. I'm Harley Neville. Welcome to the show. Are we recording? Of course we're recording. We are professionals.
Just double checking because I couldn't see one of the
Yeah,
things.
yeah,
So
it was
just,
hidden.
just looking out for you there.
Yep. Well, that's good. Well, welcome to the show. Episode 147. We're back after a. For me, I had no idea, but I was about to descend into a pit of misery. Not that long after the last show, of illness.
Yeah.
And what have you been doing?
Oh, same old, really. Just working away, chipping away. I've obviously been quite busy, actually. Well, I've done a little bit of wrestling, or my close personal friend Alex Savage has done a bit of wrestling. He just went down to Invercargill to wrestle a show this weekend.
I didn't know that. No images on Facebook.
No images on Facebook. Well, there was a few posts about the upcoming match. But when we were at the show, I had this genius idea of, look, I went and did it. I became the ultimate capitalist.
Yeah? What'd you buy?
And I bought the iPhone Pro 11.
Yeah. I wholeheartedly endorse that.
The overpriced iPhone Pro 11. And part of the reason why I wanted to do this, one, is that I had a Samsung Galaxy Note 4, which is very out of date now and not running amazingly. And, that was sort of 6 years ago. So, I feel like I've justified a new phone upgrade. I'm not doing it every year or anything crazy. But also I wanted to get into what's known as the Mac ecosystem.
And I tell you, man, you are not going to regret it. I'm balls deep in the Mac ecosystem, and I don't want to hear anything about it. I don't want to go anywhere else. I'm happy.
Happy as a pig in shit.
Exactly.
And so because I have a MacBook, because all my sort of filmmaking work and emails and all that stuff, that's all done on my Mac.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Mac for life, bro.
This non-connection between my phone,
it's
and
primitive.
my computer.
It's Stone Age stuff. It's primitive. It's primitive.
It is. So that was one reason why I got it. But the other reason I got is that with this one, their sort of big selling point is the fancy camera.
Yeah.
The fancy camera, it shoots 4K, shoots slow motion, shoots this, shoots that, shoots super wide angles, shoots telephoto, so it's close. It's got this new sensor, so it shoots really well in low light. And I was like, look, what is stopping me from sort of being a bit more vloggy and proactive?
Yeah.
Well, really, it's the editing. But second to the editing, it's that I have like a sort of a vlogging camera. Yeah. The small vlogging camera. But I've still got to set it up and put a battery in and put a memory card. And then I twiddle like this little tripod thing in. And then I've got to hold it out and it's real heavy. Yeah. And then I've got to screw on an audio thing to record better audio. And I was like, fuck. If I could just do away with all of that with this iPhone Pro, then I can just vlog with that and it'll be pretty decent. There'll be no, yes, it won't be.
That's exactly how I justified my iPhone X.
And how many vlogs did you do?
Well, I've used it for heaps of online content, so it's definitely, I think it's been worth it, for sure.
Well, anyway, so I was like, and now I'm going on this big adventure down to the South Island, wrestling in front of a new audience, having this cool tag match, all this sort of thing, and I'll vlog my whole step of the way on the airport, to the airport, blah, blah, blah.
How'd that go?
Really? So what?
Did you record anything?
Yes, I did. So what I managed to record is us at the airport, ready to go, us arriving in Queenstown, a little cutaway of this cool cafe that we're at, which the backyard was like, there was, in the backyard of the cafe, there was a fenced off bit with a goat, some sheep, a dog, and a, not llamas, but there's something like... Alpacas, yeah. So they're all just sitting...
Packs of alpacas.
So they're all just sitting in the backyard, and I was like, that's fucking cool. So anyway, I sort of vlogged that, and then after that, I completely forgot all about vlogging, until after the match. So nothing with our opponents, nothing about
no build up,
prepping, nothing like that. Didn't get anyone, like if I was smart again, I'd get someone to record some of the match separately. Like, forgot all about that because I was just too focused on the match. And then at the end of the night, I filmed my tag partner dancing like a drunken idiot.
Right.
Really, and that's it. And
then was he drunk?
Yeah, I was very drunk.
Right.
And so then I thought, okay, that's cool. I forgot all about that. But tomorrow morning we can talk about, we did it. We had this thing. We're just flying back. We just made it in time. We had to get up at 6:30. Blah blah blah. Completely fucking forgot to do all of that. Just shot some little bit of B-roll of us driving.
Yeah.
Forgot to do the actual talking bits. Total failure.
Well, maybe the answer here, though, is that you've got to not bother turning it into an actual vlog that you have to cut together and all that stuff. The answer is you just go live, which is what the kids are all doing nowadays. So you just go live 2 or 3 times throughout your trip, and you just go, here we are, dudes, we're on the way. Hey, what do you think about that, dude? Yeah, it's super cool, man.
Cool,
what's up?
Whoa, bro, dude. Dude.
Exactly. Then you go live during the show, during the wrestling. You get someone to go live for a little bit. Yeah. And then in the morning, you do your summary just live. You go, and then it's all there and it's all recorded, so you can still take it and upload it somewhere else as well. Like you could put it on YouTube if you wanted.
I guess,
or you could just go live on YouTube in the first place.
Yeah, there's no issue with that. Bar the issue.
It's scarier though, because you're just probably gonna fuck it up and maybe not be interesting enough and all that. Whereas if you plan it, you can kind of be a bit more interesting.
Well, I guess
you can still plan it though.
Yeah, I guess the sort of why didn't I guess I thought about that in context of a Facebook or Instagram story, but that goes away.
Yeah,
I don't know whether that footage is simultaneously saved to your just generic video, or if it is literally just going.
I think if you go live on Facebook, it saves the video afterwards. And you can review it.
Right.
Don't know about Instagram.
Yeah, So probably
though.
So far,
but not a story. You'd have to go live.
Yeah. So far, it's been pretty good actually. Quite like this new thing. But, obviously the main thing I'm going to be looking at is watching videos and on my fancy new high definition screen.
Yep.
YouTube videos.
YouTube
videos.
Yeah.
Those YouTube videos.
Now, I noticed something scary recently, which is now that I've got an ensuite, I'm a bachelor, right? And I've got an ensuite, got my own toilet. But I noticed something scary the other day, which is that I keep the toilet seat down. See, think about that. I've been conditioned and trained by the matriarchy. I've been completely domesticated. I'm a victim. It's disgusting.
It's true. You're actually, you've been abused.
I have
to the point that now it's automatic.
I repeat,
like when someone
illogical behavior. It doesn't make sense to be putting up and down the seat all the fucking time. I live by myself, and I piss more than I poo, so it makes no sense whatsoever. It's illogical, and yet due to my trauma,
deep-seated trauma
from the matriarchy
of having a girlfriend
for 5 years, I lived with her for 3 years.
Yeah. Well, my girlfriend...
completely domesticated.
My girlfriend would love it if I was domesticated like that.
No, you left my toilet seat out last time you were here, and I put it down.
And you're like, bro!
Yeah, I put it down. I literally put it down.
What's wrong with you, bro?
I was like, this fucking animal.
You uncultured swine.
I got a couple of shout-outs. Dean Young, who says, you're really putting me through the emotional ringer lately with the podcast. Jesus. So... Thanks for sticking with us.
Yep, when you're up, you're up. When you're down, you're down.
Chuck Black from YouTube, thanks for the generous PayPal donation. He says it's for dinner for Guy and I, or whatever we want. And so thank you very much to Chuck Black for that. And whatever we want is Operation Team Go Pro. Operation Team Go Pro, which is where money from the internet or money that Pigville earns goes into an account, which Guy and I perhaps top up a little, and then that money gets paid out to Guy to work 8 hours a day on a Monday every week for $20 an hour. And we've got like $5,000 there, right? And you just pay it. That's a lot of weeks. That's a whole bunch of weeks. And we just top it up when we earn some money, So 1 day a week. So that's Operation Team Go Pro, and you can contribute to that by going to paypal.com and using the email address pigvilleproductions@gmail.com.
Well, let's go back to your sickness, eh?
Yeah, okay. So, I am going to have to cough.
As he coughs on cue.
Yeah, I am going to have to cough.
Unscripted.
Throughout this show.
That's not part of... that's not part
of
the
show.
Yeah.
So, I was recently blessed by Grandfather Nurgle. And I haven't really been looking after myself lately. Since we got the eviction notice at the old flat, I stopped cooking. And so I stopped cooking, and then when I moved flats, I stopped going to the gym, and now I'm literally not even a member of a gym. I'm not even a gym member right now. I'm just a member. And so I've been eating not that great, not gymming enough. And if you were to look at my fridge right now, you would see bread, butter, breakfast drinks, energy drinks, and Ranfurly Draft Beer, the elixir of the gods, the finest drop New Zealand has to offer, and a proud sponsor of the Guy and Harley podcast, although they haven't said that themselves. So I started getting a chest infection, and that doesn't even really happen to me, that often. But I was like, oh, that's all good. I'll just chill out. I'll just increase I didn't have too much work on, so I was like, well, I'll just increase my hot honey lemon ginger intake, and I'll sit down in front of a Sifty 150 listeners Netflix account. Shout out Bevan, and just chill, But then, so what happened was, just after I started getting sick, I also went and I worked in a bar, and I lifted up something with poor technique, and I didn't realize it at the time, but I'd set off a ticking time bomb, and that pain was going to be kicking in later. So when they did finally kick in together, the chest infection and the back injury, their combined might worked in concert to create a cruel crescendo of pain that was breathtaking in its complexity. So on the first day, I popped 3 tramadols, not to be mistaken with tranidols, which I've also popped a few of, and also a couple of ibuprofen, and maybe a cocktail of weed, whiskey, and cough mixture. But, I was having a party. But anyway, the issue was that I hadn't eaten very much. Due to the arduous journey to the fridge. But anyway, eventually I was forced to go to the toilet, and I went there naked, of course. Got an ensuite. I was naked. Leave me alone. And so I went into the bathroom, and I got a sudden and unexpected hacking cough while I was standing up and not expecting it. And I had all my weight on my back. So no, I didn't have anything to grab onto or anything like that. And so the resulting agony of that cough racking my back forced me to my knees, and and then I got up and tried to pee, and then as I was pissing, I started feeling myself blacking out, and then I stopped pissing, and I was like, I got to make it back to my bed where I can safely black out. And then I, in a typical Hollywood overdose drug scene, when I fell past the sink and tore down my mouthwash and all the stuff. It all fell off and fell on the floor, and then I fell on my face on a box of Ranfurly Draft and some other important stuff beside my desk, including my ring light. But it was actually a good place to land because it broke my fall, and the Ranfurly Draft was fine. So I woke up a few seconds later, and I was dripping sweat, torrents of it, running down my sides and dripping off the end of my penis and my nose, and it was so cold in the room that my entire body started steaming, and it looked like my soul was finally escaping from its torturous imprisonment. So in that few seconds there, when I first woke up, I felt like I was way too high or drunk or something. And, everybody knows that feeling, right? So all I could think was that the combination of ibuprofen and tramadol and whiskey and weed and cough medicine might have, amounted to an overdose. And I was saying, my phone was on the other side of the room, and I was thinking, well, fuck, in my state, it might as well be in Jason P. Diddy Combs' house in Savannah, I'm not going to make it. And so I was sitting there thinking, you silly boy, what have you done, you silly boy? You just concentrate on staying awake. But after a few minutes, it started to fade, and I sort of recognized the feeling of actually being too high. It wasn't being too high. I'd only had 3 tramadol. You can have 8 in a 24-hour period. So I've fainted about 5 times in my life, and basically I started recognizing the symptoms, such as the overheating and so on. So I crawled to the bathroom and had a shower and freshened up, and I survived, basically.
The symptoms, the classic symptoms, such as being a little bitch.
Being a little pansy. Passing out from the pain. The funniest story, which we won't tell again right now, but the funniest story is when I passed out when getting an STD check while I was standing up, leaning up against the bed, and the male doctor who it wasn't a sexual health clinic, it was just my normal doctor, and he gave me a STI check, and he started cramming a earbud, a cotton bud, like down the end of my penis, and I was standing up, and normally you're lying down when they do that type of thing, and it's normally an old lady with warm hands, instead of this like angry Asian
warm welcoming hands,
angry little Asian man with this earbud and a mission, and he was cramming it on down there, and I started feeling faint, and then I passed out and fell over onto him and put my potentially infected penis in his eyeball and fell onto his face.
So not only did he cop an eyeful that he wasn't expecting, he also may have copped a mouthful.
he copped it all. He copped it all. But he will be relieved that when the results came back, I was clean, which meant his eye was clean. Now, so yeah, don't have tramadol on an empty stomach, but I actually think that really it was just from that pain. And anyway, I finally got some sleep on one of the days. And then I woke up struck down with a new melody, which is the handfuls of painkillers I'd been eating like Skittles had taken away my ability to shit, or so I suspected. So my stomach was hitting me with these long rolling waves of pain, while my chest and back provided sort of some backup shots of misery. But so now I had all three of these problems, and that was the world that Guy Pigden stepped into. So, and what did you think when you walked in?
So you messaged me the night before, and you're like, I passed out, blah, blah, blah. And I did not take that seriously at all, knowing your weak constitution for such things.
Yeah.
I really
You're like, Harley passes out all the time. He's like one of those goats that you give it a fright and it just falls over.
Yeah, I was like, but he passed out when he took some blood. So come on, I think
I gave a lot of blood and I hadn't eaten. I've got a recurring theme of passing out when I haven't eaten. Okay.
And I was like, his little tummy gets sore when he doesn't get to travel in the front seat of a car.
I get motion sickness.
So I really, when he said that, I was like, oh well, I'm sure he's not really that bad. Like,
but that's not fair, because surely you would have to agree that I don't. I mean, sure, okay, I get sick in cars, sure, okay, and I've passed out on a number of occasions, sure, okay. But I don't get sick very often, or like claim to be sick very often,
yes.
Or I'm certainly. I don't think you'd call me a hypochondriac.
No.
So for me to say I'm pretty sick,
to be complaining of your health, I guess that should have given me a warning. But again, when you read something in text form,
you're like, yeah, whatever.
You don't really take it seriously. Because you're obviously...
Oh, Harley's overdosing on drugs.
Yeah. When you read a text...
Lol.
You just like...
Pixar, it didn't happen.
This is sadly the world that we live in. If you get a text, it does not have very much resonance to you.
No.
Because you get like plenty of texts per day, and you're always doing something else when you get them. And I was just like, kind of like, that doesn't sound very good. But that's really all I thought of it. I did not kind of put together the dots of like, well, Harley doesn't really get very sick, and he doesn't really complain about being sick. So, and also, I get sick all the time.
Yeah.
Well, not all the time, but I definitely get sick probably 3 to 4 times a year. And, and most of that is a result of burning the candle at both ends, I think. So, like, anytime there's a bug going around, I'm very... on 4 hours sleep, I'm very susceptible to it.
4 hours sleep, burning the candle at both ends, and hanging out with the commoners, hundreds of commoners in your Uber position.
Yeah. So there's many reasons why
the public.
Why I might sort of get sick. So, as someone that gets sick a lot, I'm like, well, shit, he's probably got the flu that I got a little while ago, because I was struck down and bedridden for sort of a solid week, which, again, when I get sick for a couple of days and that's it. And I might feel absolutely horrible for a day, maybe 2, but then it'll pass and I'll be getting better. And this one just did not get better. And I was like, oh, I guess this is the difference between a cold and a flu, because I am fucking dying here. So I kind of thought it was that, and I was like, oh, shit, oh, well. But then he messaged me the next day, and he was like, can you bring around a coffee and a sandwich? And I was like, who the fuck do you think I am? Is fucking butler? But I also thought, that was when I thought it was serious, because I was like, he would never ask. Like, he literally could, like, he lives...
I lived a block away from a sandwich place.
Exactly.
And a coffee place.
Exactly. Like, he lives very close to these things.
Yeah.
So the fact that he can't do that, maybe he is actually really sick.
Yeah.
So then I walked in and I saw you laid out on your bed. And I was like, hey, what's going on? I thought we were going to have a few days. You're going to be, I'm sick. Yeah, you got me. I'm sick. Hey, where's my stuff? I'm fucking sick. But, you know. And then you're like, and you couldn't really say anything.
No, I couldn't really talk.
You could barely form sentences.
No.
And then...
because every word or two, I had to suppress a cough.
And then not only could you not really say sentences, you could barely fucking move. And I was like, damn.
Yeah. Like, to get out of bed, I had to roll incredibly slowly from my back to my side to my front, and then hang my gammy leg off, and then crawl down onto all fours on the floor naked. But I didn't do this when you were there.
Thankfully.
Because fortunately, by that day, I was ever so slightly better. And putting pants on was an absolute nightmare, so I just didn't. No socks, nothing. I was just naked and just writhing in my own excrement for 2 days, all on my lonesome. Nobody saw me. Only death gazed upon me in those days and considered taking my unworthy soul, but decided against it. But like my flatmate said, my flatmate saw me on like day one, and he said, so he gave me a hot water bottle that I needed, and then he said, shout out 10 Mystic, who just followed us on the Twitch, and so he said that he was quite concerned, and because he went away for the weekend, so I was here by myself, and so he went away for the weekend, and he said that he was quite concerned, and that he had sort of joked to his girlfriend, am I going to come home to a corpse? And that was on day one, and then or day two or whatever. You saw me on day 3 and 4, and then you saw me on day 5, but nobody saw me on 3 and 4. Yep. And then when you saw me, you said that I had aged from age 36 to 86.
Yeah, you're walking around like when you managed to get upright after half an hour.
Yeah,
you were hobbling around with a super slow step. Like a freaking shuffling, like I've seen 86-year-old men shuffle around, and that's exactly how they do it.
And that's what I was shuffling.
And I was like,
every day I'm shuffling.
And I was like, Jesus Christ. Because also the thing
you were like, because we were talking about going to the doctor, and you were like, we could just take you to the hospital.
Yeah, I was like, he is so sick that a hospital visit right now is definitely the best course of action. Because also the other thing is, like, the thing about getting sick and the thing about how kind of sick illnesses take lives is it's not necessarily that you got sick. It's not necessarily whatever that malady is that you got. It's the not addressing it in time. It's the not taking care of it as the condition worsens. And it's the sort of not treating the underlying symptoms, which you were definitely not doing any of, except unless you count bed rest.
No, that's bullshit. I saw it coming, but I didn't know how bad it was going to be. But I did see it coming, and I went and got a whole bunch of medicine. And like painkillers and all that, and whiskey and so on. I stocked up.
You got some whiskey.
I stocked up.
The medicine that I'm saying, like, if you've hurt your back.
Yeah, but I couldn't go anywhere at that moment. Like, I couldn't. There was just no way that I was going to. I couldn't make it to the fridge.
Yes, but
when I had to unlock the door for this guy, I planned that. I had a nap. Before I unlocked the door. That's why I said text me before you come, because I needed some fucking warning to plan out this trek.
Yeah.
I took 3 days rations with me. I had some scroggin in my pockets.
So that's the problem, is that, like, yes, if you don't, like, so, and also it's often the combination of things that will kill someone. It won't be one thing.
Well, that was the thing. This was a combination.
Yeah.
It was a combination.
I was like, look, this chest infection is really seriously not very good, obviously. And this back thing is really, really bad. And I don't see it really getting that much better just lying there, because lying actually on your back when you have a back problem is not always the best thing for your back. Sometimes quite the opposite. So I was like, plus he's going to be coughing. He's seizing up his back every time he coughs. So anyway, my first suggestion, apart from the hospital, was go to the doctor, which you still were quite reluctant to do.
But not because I didn't want to go, but because I was daunted by the physical journey.
Right.
You know, the physical journey was very daunting, and my energy levels were very low.
Yeah.
Plus, I actually felt better that day. Slightly, my chest and my back were ever so slightly better that day.
That was
that was an improvement for me.
That was also the other shocking thing is like. You were like, oh, I'm actually feeling better now.
Yeah.
And I was like, as I watched your soul slowly escaping from your body.
Yeah.
I was not sure how bad you must have been. I was like, well, Jesus, if you're better now, I'm not sure about this.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'm just glad I was stocked up.
So I was very worried. So we took you to the doctor.
Yeah, so I looked like shit. I was limping on the left side, that's right. The right side, the crip side.
Only on the crip side.
And I was wearing my cum-encrusted pajama track pants with no undies and a beat-up hoodie with gym sneakers. So I looked like a fucking homeless 80-year-old shuffling into the emergency doctor.
Yeah.
And there, I, an unemployed, semi-unemployed at the moment man, spent $200 because I spent I spent about $200 total on being sick, but I spent $130 that day at the emergency doctor. And I got a bunch of antibiotics and so on, but I also got a bunch of enemas and laxatives because, of this whole stomach situation, this new stomach situation which developed the day that you arrived, where I had this, killer tummy ache.
Tummy is sore again.
Now I couldn't obviously, I couldn't sort out the cough on the back until I sorted out the shitting. Right, that's obviously very important. But I'm a bachelor, right, and so with my limited mobility, I had no one to help me squirt the enema up my ass. Yeah, which is difficult. But I did eventually manage to find a technique that works. I took off my pants and I lay on my back, and then I tucked my ankles behind my head. And then I lubed up my entire forearm and put my entire clenched fist into my ass, and in that fist was clenched the enema, which I then released like a grenade. That was my technique. But here's the thing, it didn't work, and I think it's still up there because it was like an armed intruder bursting into an empty home. Because it turns out that I was not constipated. I hadn't eaten enough to be constipated. I wasn't shitting because I hadn't eaten. So I gave myself an enema for nothing. And I had to look at myself in the eye on the toilet afterwards as well, because the mirror's right in front of me there. And so anyway, why the stomach pain then, right? Okay, if I didn't need a shit, then why the stomach pain? Well, you said appendicitis, and so I was like, I Googled it, and the pain was kind of in the wrong part of my stomach. Right. But I was like, okay. You know what it turned out to be? Farts. Lots and lots of big, thunderous farts. You see, it turns out that if you lie still for 2 days and sleep like a matchstick, your body never gets into a position to release any of these glorious natural gases, right? So if you combine that with the drugs I was taking on an empty stomach, and there was all sorts of weird chemistry going on down there, right? And no release valve for the pressure. So with my slightly increased mobility, I managed to get into a position and just massage these farts out. And it was a bittersweet symphony of flatulence, is what it was. It was truly something to behold. So after nearly 30 minutes of non-stop farting in the fetal position, I got a big red balloon and I put the lips of it inside my rectum. And as it slowly filled up with gas, I began to rise towards the ceiling. It sort of lifted my ass up, because everybody knows that farts are lighter than air. And this actually took some of the pressure off my back. It felt amazing. So yeah, they all float down here. And afterwards, when all was said and done, after all the enemas, I felt like $1,000,000. I had a new lease on life, because with the stomach issue sorted, I only had the back and the cough to worry about, and both of those were improving. So yeah.
Although you do have to wonder how that cough would have gone had you not had that round of antibiotics.
Yeah, for sure. But it did improve on that day.
Yeah.
Like, it was a big improvement. The listeners don't want to know, but I was coughing up literally mouthfuls of like horrible phlegm that I needed to spit out. It was horrific.
Well, yeah. It was farts all along.
It was farts. So that's the thing. Going to the doctor was, in many ways, a waste of time. Although the antibiotics wasn't. Yeah. But so I still have a bit of a limp right now, and the pain's kind of moved down to my leg a little bit, which is, I think that I actually hurt my butt, my butt muscle or something, not my back. Now in hindsight. So yeah, that's about where I'm at with that. But this is what I've become, right? My isolation is complete. A few years ago, I lived with my long-term girlfriend, who I loved dearly, and my friend and his girlfriend, who was also a friend of mine. And then nowadays, I just writhe in my excrement when I'm sick, in my own filth. It might seem to the listeners that I live an idyllic, carefree, playboy existence, just me with no kids and no debts and no wife and not even a girlfriend, just absolute freedom 24/7. But let me tell you, it's not all freedoms and threesomes out here on the front lines in the war against bachelorism. Okay, there's also the crippling loneliness in my most desperate moments of need.
But who was there for you? Old mate.
Guy. He walked in fearlessly, opened the window for me, took the rubbish out.
Got him to the hospital.
Did my shoes up for me.
Tied up his shoelaces.
Yeah.
Got him to the hospital. Mm-hmm. Not the hospital, the emergency
doctor. And they walked me through reasonably quickly. There was quite a lot of people there, but I think they bumped me to the front a little.
Oh, yeah. They definitely bumped you to the front.
Yeah.
Because there was a thing on the wall that said, if you're suffering from any of these things, please let the reception know. And there was 5 different things, and you were suffering from 3 of the 5.
Yeah. We got to get this guy. He's about to die.
Yeah.
And when I got there, I was like, I'll be waiting outside. It's too hot in here. And then I went outside, stood in the cold.
Yeah. Speaking of your girlfriend of 5 years.
Yep.
She posted a photo. We talked about that, didn't we?
Of her looking very beautiful. No, I don't think we did actually.
Did we not talk about
no, because that was the week of Swan Song.
Right.
The falling apart of our
disintegration.
The disintegration of our show and friendship.
Yeah.
And so. No, we didn't talk about it, but yes, my ex-girlfriend did post a maternity photo of her looking radiant, very beautiful, and very, very pregnant with somebody else's baby, which was obviously, sad for me.
Tough pill to swallow.
Because, that could have been my baby.
Yeah.
That could have been my beautiful little half Latino baby.
Yeah. The most shocking thing to me of it, I was like, damn, this bitch still hot.
Yep.
I was like, how do you make being pregnant look good? She doesn't. She's pulling it off.
Yeah, I mean.
I was like, if this doesn't put into context how hot she really was and how out of Harley's league she is, this photo just really puts everything into perspective. It really just singles out she looks great pregnant as well.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people can say that?
This cowardly fucking usurper. Honestly, that cowardly usurper who swooped in at the last minute and put his bloody cuckoo's egg into my nest. It's fucking outrageous.
Yeah, so it was cool when I saw that.
Yeah.
So I was like, shit. I was like, when I saw that, I was like, ooh, I can't put a positive spin on this one because she looks so good.
Yeah.
I was like, I'd love to put a positive spin, well, she's pregnant, bro.
Yeah, at least she got hideous looking.
Yeah, like she's looking pretty frumpy. You probably dodged a bullet there. Nope. Did not happen.
No, and she strikes me as the type of person that would, just sort of keep in shape, bounce back pretty quickly and stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, look, I wish her the best. Obviously it's not quite how I would have liked things to end up, but I do wish her the best, sincerely, and soon she'll be a mum, and best. I will be just here,
all the best,
writhing in my excrement.
Yep.
So, do have another story.
Yep.
Which is a few Fridays back, I was working, I worked quite a long shift, and I got home and I was pretty tired, and I went to bed, and I was sort of dreaming about something, and I was dreaming about something interesting, and then in my dream I heard this noise, and it was far too close, and it sort of sounded like this noise was in the room with me. So my sleeping brain said, well, it's a mouse, right?
Yeah.
Because I've lived in many rat-infested shitholes, so it wasn't unusual for me to hear something rustling in the room with me late at night. But it was enough to wake me up from my slumber, so I opened my eyes and all was silent. There wasn't a single light on in the house, but through the murky darkness, I did see that there was the bedroom door was open, which was sort of unusual for me because I do a lot of weird and perverted stuff in this room. I'm not going to let my flatmates see that, so I'm pretty unlikely to leave the door open. Right? So even so, I didn't feel any alarm. I was thinking about rats and cats and maybe leaving the door ajar, and then I heard a strange noise that abruptly confirmed I definitely wasn't alone. And this was I didn't know the time at the time, but 3:30 to 4 a.m. And this noise was both completely alien in this environment and yet strangely familiar. It was a sort of So I immediately sat up and turned on my bedside lamp, and what I saw shook me to my very core, because squatting before me was a half-naked, fat-bottomed girl that I had never seen before, and she was midstream and full flow pissing on the carpet at the bottom of my bed. So I sat there for a second.
And you took a moment to think, was this one of the weird, perverted things that I instigate in this room? Or another?
So I sat there, looking at her, with my face-to-face with my sleep paralysis demon. But then it was just like that time Grady, a 29-year-old construction worker, walked into his trailer park home to find his wife in bed with another man, because I was like, what the fuck? And then she jumped up like a frightened rabbit and just bounded out the door into the hallway. Now, everyone knows that when you're pissing, you can't just stop mid-flow. So this mysterious, fat-bottomed girl disappeared into the murky darkness, dripping and squirting piss down the hallway, illuminated by nothing more than the light emanating from her fluorescent white butt. So naturally,
full moon,
I gave chase. Now, I confess, this wasn't the first time I'd found myself naked, chasing a piss-covered, fat-bottomed girl around my house at 4 a.m. But something about it felt distinctly alien this time. So I followed the urine trail down the darkened hallway, and it was a surreal moment because a few moments before I'd been sleeping and dreaming, and now reality was stranger. And so she was wearing this strange lingerie onesie, like a one-piece swimming suit except lingerie, and the back of it was a G-string, so you could see everything. So as I entered the hallway, I caught a glimpse of her white butt as it sort of scuttled around the corner like in that movie Attack of the Giant White Butts. And so I followed the fading luminous light of her evanescent butt into the darkness until I found the kitchen light switch and turned it on, and there she sat on the couch in her pissy onesie, with her legs crossed casually and just resting her fist, her chin on her fist in the most casual way possible. Like, I want you to picture like the thinking man statue, right? But it's the pissing woman. So I was like, what the fuck are you doing? And she was like, I don't know. And I was like, so I summarized the situation. I was like, well, a minute ago you were pissing on my floor and now you're sitting in your undies in my lounge. And she was like, yeah, I'm trying to figure out which one of those two things is weirder. And I was like, well, they're both pretty fucking weird, actually. And then so we sort of stood there in silence for a little bit, and I waited for like any type of explanation as to who the fuck she was and why she was pissing on my bedroom floor. And she said nothing. So I was just standing there with my ass out, like holding my blankets and, and trying to figure out what the fuck was going on. And so I was standing around the corner from her a little bit and not getting too close because I didn't know who this fucking nut job was and she could be potentially dangerous or something. and I sort of crept forward around the corner, just a little half step forward. And as I did, I stood directly with my bare foot into a puddle of her piss on the hardwood floor. So now that I could sort of see her and hear her, I kind of realized that she was my flatmate's mate, who I had actually met before. So, and then at that point I was like, all right, well, why don't you go with me sort of standing there in a puddle of piss? I was like, well, why don't you go to bed and think about it? And she was like, well, that's probably the sensible thing to do. But I was already gone. I was like, fuck it, I'm fucking out of here. What am I going to do about this fucking piss, this human piss on my fucking floor at 4 a.m.? So that's 2 zombie holocausts I've survived now.
What did you do about that piss at 4 a.m.?
Well, so I looked around for the carpet cleaner, right? So I was like, I'll spray some carpet cleaner on it. I'll put a towel over it. I'll sort it out in the morning. No, couldn't find the carpet cleaner, right? So I was like, okay, that's weird. I found out later on that the reason why we don't have any carpet cleaner is because this very same person had borrowed our carpet cleaner and not returned it. So I'm thinking, she's going to have to start keeping a can in her fucking purse, man.
Fucking McPissy Pants. Old McPissy Pants. This is, yeah.
I'm just glad it was a Pikachu, not a Pookachu. I'm glad I didn't scare a wee poo out of her when I woke up. So yeah, obviously she was sleep pissing. Obviously she was sleep pissing in my room.
And perhaps we could deduce that this may be more of a common occurrence with the borrowing of the carpet cleaner prior.
Yeah.
If we're doing a little bit of detective work.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We might need to give her one for her piss.
Yeah. So, and then, and you told me the story.
Yeah.
Or you tried to tell it.
On the way to the hospital.
Yeah. In between hearty coughs.
I didn't want to tell him. I wanted to tell him live on the show because obviously you would be along for the ride if I'd been like, and it was dark, it was murky night, and you don't know anything about fat bottom girls pissing.
I would have been in absolute hysterics.
Yeah.
This time round, I was like, man.
Wrap it up.
Well, not really. I was like, man, he's got a lot of free time to write all this stuff. He's telling me he's real busy. He's had a lot of free time to write this story. He's really put some time into this one.
Well, look.
He's really been cultivating this little story.
Well, okay, I'll tell you what that's about, Guy. That's about me prioritizing the Sifty 150. Okay? That's what that's about. That's me understanding that this podcast is our longest running and arguably most successful thing ever.
Well, you might be right there.
By certain standards.
And so that was what I thought this time. But I also thought it was funny that she never acknowledged it.
Yeah, she hasn't still, but she did. The update is that 2 weeks later, she has spoken to my flatmate and asked my flatmate if I had said anything. So she does have some recollection of it.
All right.
And she passed on her apologies, but I haven't seen her.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. Like, I feel, and I can speak to this very specifically. I feel like if you sleep piss in someone's room,
you are responsible for that urine.
You need to come clean. You need to go to them and go, hey.
I know I walked into your most private of spaces.
I know that
your sanctuary. I walked into your sanctuary, the one place where you feel safe.
And I
pissed on your floor.
And I'm really sorry.
It's
the least you could do. Like, not pass on my apologies through a second-hand person.
Yeah.
That's pathetic.
Well,
you can't piss and run. You can't. You've got to fess up. You've got to face the music. Like, I get it. We're living in this world where we do it all through messages and texts, and we try and avoid, like these confronting issues,
human interactions.
Because, like, once upon a time, I'm sure she would have come with you with cap in hand.
Yeah. Well,
for an apology and a peace offering.
Yeah.
As I once did.
As you
having
did, Guy.
Pissed on a couch.
Yeah, on your girlfriend's flatmate's couch. Who was a guy that we also used to go to school with.
Yeah.
Who was known to be able to kick our asses if he wanted to, or kick.
Yes.
A sporty. He hung out with the rugby people.
Mm.
And you went in there and pissed on his couch in a sleep pissing incident.
And not only that,
and you showed up a couple of days later with a big 18-pack of Steinies or something, right? Something that wasn't Ranfurly Draft.
And apologized.
Said,
look, I'm really sorry about that.
Cap in hand.
Because I knew that's what had to be done. Had to face the consequences of my pissing actions.
Yeah.
And I'm very disheartened by this woman's approach.
Yeah. Well, I think I'll get an apology eventually. I'm not too bothered by it. It was... if she happens to be listening, I just wanted to say I was just having a bit of fun. I don't really care. It was fine. I'm over it because it was a relief, really, because if that had been someone with ill intent... I consider myself a reasonably light sleeper, but if that had been somebody who had snuck into my house, who had already adjusted their eyes to the darkness, who then quietly got through my door, I mean, it's disconcerting that a person can open my door, which is actually kind of a difficult-ish door to open, and get in here and then squat down and take a piss before I even know they're in the room. If that was a person of ill intent, they could have just come in and whacked me over the head with a bat or something. I never would have known about it. I would have woken up and gone, oh, that's weird. The door's open. Whack!
Yeah.
That's
Look,
that.
It could have been worse. But, she can't be goofing around pretending it didn't happen and then turning it into, hey, did anyone say anything? Because what do you think if your flatmate had gone, nah, he didn't say anything?
Yeah.
She'd gone, cool.
Cool, just wondering.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Probably.
And so this is, again, it's all this, it's the millennials, man. Not facing up to their actions.
She's at least my age. I mean, I don't know. She's got to be in her 30s somewhere. I don't know how old she is. But she's in her 30s. She's not a kid.
Someone thought I was 29 the other day, which I took as a great compliment.
Yeah. Yeah, well, rightly so.
I was like, yeah. Well, I feel like I'm still 29.
Yeah. Well,
not physically.
That sickness.
Physically, I feel terrible.
That sickness aged me, personally. I don't feel 29.
Yeah. Well, you're still in the recovery process.
Well, I am. Yeah. About the Guy and Harley podcast and the Sifty 150 and so on, we recently surpassed 20,000 downloads on Libsyn.
Really?
Yep. So that's good. But although our first upload was in January 2015, so that's 4.5 years ago, so we're definitely a niche podcast. Could say we're a niche podcast. But there's also another 7,000 views on YouTube and Twitch, so that's nice. That's good. But it's not quite as many as we might like, though. But we do have our 150 loyal miscreants hanging off our every word, slobbering and masturbating violently while listening to the show.
Yeah, I think we were probably over 20,000 per episode by about now.
Yeah, well, it has been 4.5 years. You would think, there's that whole idea, like, if you build it, they will come. Well, we fucking built it.
We built it.
Where the fuck
are
they?
You?
Where's all the cum?
We fucking built this shit.
Yeah.
Empty house.
We built it. Now you come.
It's so simple.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. But see, the thing is, interestingly though, now this is what we need to, so here's what we need to be doing, right? This is part business meeting, part podcast. If we're going to potentially be self-distributing older, we've got to increase our online presence now, and we've got to start building it up now and stuff. Now, by comparison to the podcast, the Pigville Productions YouTube channel is getting 10,000 views every month. And that's just at its quiet background hum. We haven't uploaded anything for literally a year. The last upload was one of my vlogs a year ago, and we're still getting 10,000 views a month. So that's not... that's pretty good, for a background hum without even trying. Like, small YouTubers dream of those numbers. And we're just like, yeah, whatever. So, yeah, we need to increase we need to get more shit out to those dudes. Unfortunately, the Guy and Harley podcast YouTube channel is tiny, and I haven't really promoted it. But if anybody's out there and wants to go subscribe to the Guy and Harley YouTube channel, please do. Guy and Harley podcast on YouTube.
Well, look, it's been a wonderful time, but I think we're going to have to wrap it up now because I do have to go to work.
Okay, all right, work. Boo. Regarding just a little tangent, very quick tangent. When they asked me to audition for that role across from that big name actor, what's his name?
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, the Benadryl Bumblematch. Interestingly, they gave me the entire script. I don't think I told you that. They gave me the full script for this entire feature film.
This is how much they wanted They
wanted the Nevs. They were like, we're going to send him
the whole, not just a part,
entire script,
so he could go over it.
Well, because I was the lead role man. Of course, I got to understand what's happening.
You're starring opposite fucking Benedict Cumberbatch,
Benadryl Bumblematch,
Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
fucking.
That's me on Bumble, Doctor Strange. So yeah. Yeah, I just thought you'd find that interesting.
Yeah.
They gave me the full script.
Have you ever read it?
Nah. Started reading it and then I was like, fucking them out.
Started reading like, no, these words, too many words here.
No, well, I was like, I can't do an American accent. Fucking them out.
Yeah.
Well, I can do an American accent. You've just got to, give me some warning, all right? Just give me some fucking warning. If you want to audition me for an American role, just give me some warning. Benedict.
Fucking Jane Campion.
I didn't say the name of it.
No, I didn't say the name of it either.
You just said the name of the director, though, which is something that we've never said. We said that the name rhymed with champion because she was a champion filmmaker. You're not supposed to say the fucking name of it.
Oh, sorry. Well,
but,
you can always
who gives a shit? What are they going to cut me from it?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not in it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But it's just one of the greatest New Zealand directors of all time.
Yeah.
Just an Oscar winner.
Yeah, exactly.
Incredibly successful, powerful, empowering woman in cinema.
Who selected me
personally? Well, probably the casting director.
No. Apparently she had...
Are you fucking serious?
I'm not kidding, man. I'm not kidding. This is what my agent told me.
Are you fucking
I'm
real?
serious. So she had looked at the people that she wanted to audition, and she chose Harley Neville. And Harley Neville was like, oh, thanks, but no thanks.
Thanks, Jane, but
thanks.
Got to get back to my job. You know what's funny? Also, it's worse and worse. The story just spirals worse and worse. This was it, Nevs. Your big chance. But look, of course, the chances of getting an audition are not high, so we were having a bit of fun with it. But on the same token, no other Oscar-winning directors have personally selected you to fucking audition for their fucking feature film, have they?
As the lead role. As one of the lead roles.
What this leads me to think about is like, okay, is Jane Campion an I Survived a Zombie Holocaust fan?
She could be, but I actually have auditioned for her before,
right? For
another show,
Top of the Lake.
I wasn't going to say that, but yes, it was about a lake and it was at the top of a hill. It was at a lake somewhere, and so I auditioned for that, and I'm pretty sure if I recall correctly, I got a call back for it,
right?
Or was even maybe on the shortlist for something or on hold for something, but then didn't get it. So it's possible that Jane does keep an eye out for the Nevs.
She got a little thing for the Nevs.
For whatever reason, yeah. Well, not this time, Jane. Not this time. But maybe next time. Next time, please.
She's actually one of the Sifty 150.
Imagine if she was. Shout out, Jane. If you're listening.
Yeah.
Imagine if she was. Imagine if she was one of the Sifty 150. You never know. That's the scary thing about this show, about this poison chalice that is this show. We get up here, we say all sorts of shit. We have no idea who's listening. We know that this is a filmmaking podcast. Know that it's
a podcast about our lives.
We know that it's that filmmakers listen to it in New Zealand. So hey, you never know.
Well, anyway, on that note,
okay, you really need to go.
I gotta go.
All right.
Got to get going.
I won't talk about all the auditions that I had and stuff.
Well, we got no time because I've got to get to work, to not work, to write this application for you.
Yeah. Well, that's good because these guys don't even know about that, which is that. Guy is putting together an application for me to go to LA. Living the dream.
let that sink into your head for a second.
So all going well, I'm going to go to LA in November to hobnob and schmooze with Hollywood filmmakers.
So I've spent several
posting on Facebook all about it.
So I've spent like many hours writing this application. My girlfriend, I've coerced.
Shout out to you.
I've coerced into, which took her a couple of days to go through the entire list of people going to the American film market and cherry pick all the ones that might be suitable for our projects.
There was only one that you could consider. Well, I mean, only one that got back to me that was on the wrong list. They go,
really?
They go, hey, we're a trade union. We don't actually handle films or something like that.
Oh, that's a pretty good...
But that's a good ratio. Yeah,
exactly.
Because I emailed all of them.
Yeah.
And only one of them got back saying you're in the wrong place.
So we're working hard to get Harley out there to have cocktails and stuff. Yeah. Hey, how did your meetings go? What?
What meetings? I was shit-faced.
Yeah,
I was high the entire time.
Yeah.
I got off the plane and got some weed from a dude outside the airport.
I didn't actually go to the market.
No, yeah. I just hung out on the beach because it's in like Malibu. Is it Malibu? I don't think it's Malibu. It's but it's where there's that famous
Venice Beach.
Venice. Oh no, it's not Venice Beach. But it's there's that famous pier with a big wheel on it.
Right.
Yeah, I can't remember what that's called, but that's where it is.
Well, Santa Monica Boulevard.
It could be. I'll have to Google it. But anyway, it's going to be very cool that I'm going to be there, schmoozing, hobnobbing, and pretending I'm a bit much bigger deal than I am.
Well, the application has to be successful first.
With the ultimate goal of getting laid, and if I'm lucky, selling older.
But first and
foremost,
get laid.
Operation Get Laid.
Operation Get Laid.
That's what the name is. It's meant to be Operation Sell Older. Operation Get Laid.
Get laid.
Yeah.
All right. Well, time for me to head off. But thank you very much for listening.
Yep, it's been a pleasure. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/GuyandHarley, or if you really want to contribute to Operation GoPro, go to patreon.com/Pigville, and you can give us $1 a month to say, keep doing what you do, boys, and we'll spend it on Ramfilly Draft Beer and keep making this show.
Get the new iPhone 11, guys.
Get that. An
iPhone
official
11
endorsement.
Pro.
It's an official Pigville endorsement. I'd get it if I could. All right, thank you very much for listening, and we will see you next time.
See you later.
All right, now we're in the post-coital cuddle, which is the show after the show. When we've finished recording the podcast and saving it, we then talk to these 4 random people online. No comments for the entire show.
Disappointing.
Literally no interaction. Nobody gives a fuck.
Well, they should.
Well.
Yeah, that's my reminder. I have work at 11 o'clock.
Cool. All right. Well, goodbye, streamers.